Yeah, life is a blessing. It's a blessing, and I know it. Yes, wow, now share my thoughts. Yes, to the world. Yeah, oh, share my thoughts. Yes, to the world. Clement come to share him thoughts. Yes, to the world. Yeah, oh, share my thoughts. Yes. It's a blessing. Yeah, life is a blessing. It's a blessing. And I know it.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Wow, now share my thoughts.
Another Wednesday, time to share with thoughts. Conscious Vibes, www.saharatfmradio.com. Late, really late start of the program. Apologies. Especially to you, Femi Akomolafe and Kojo Sankofa, for holding you on the line for so long. The technical difficulties sometimes are just depressing, to say the least. But yes, we're here. Listeners, today we taking a special FaceTime with two of my favorite people. Journalist, writer, activist, Femi Akomolafe. He'll be sharing his thoughts on issues around the African continent and on certain principles that I know he holds as an activist and as a journalist. We'll also share time with the man Kojo Sankofa, singer, guitarist, filmmaker. Yes, indeed. He will also be sharing with us some of his music, some of his experience, and some of his, thought vibes about his coming project, Love Never Lasts, a movie that he is working on. Because we've lost so much time, I would like us to go straight into it. Welcome to the show, Kojo Sankofa.
Yes, hi, greetings.
Yeah, man.
Greetings, how you doing?
Yes, all right. So we have Femi on the line as well.
Okay.
Yes, great. So what we're going to do actually is that we're going to have the two of you simultaneously, but we will have different questions for each of you, being as we have different subjects that we want to talk on. And I understand Kojo has to leave at a point, so after that we'll just carry on with you, Femi, if that's okay, and get some wisdom from you.
Well, all right, I hope I can.
Okay. All right. Let me start with you, Kojo. Tell us a bit about yourself to start with, just briefly. So, as a precursor to the questions that we want to be asking you.
Okay, my birth name is Kojo Abwache Jana Pinson. I was born in Ekopon Equipment in the mountains of Ghana. Yeah, born to Kojo Jana Pinson and Salome Ohineasa.
So,
and I grew up. Go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead.
Yes, I grew up mainly from a Christian background, and also lived with my grandmother in Koforidua, joined my father at some point in Accra. My father had to leave for exile in 1980. That was the same year I entered secondary school in Okwataman School. And
your father was a journalist, and he left in exile. Why did he go into exile?
Well, a political exile for writing what the government at the time did not approve of. I mean, there wasn't that kind of freedom of speech as Ghana enjoys right now.
Which government was this?
Happened.
Which government was this?
This was in the PNDC era with Jerry Rawlings.
I see. Okay. All right. We'll come back to you. Hopefully, we'll get more of that side of you as well. But let's go to Femi. Femi, could you please tell us something briefly about yourself?
My name is Femi Akomolafe, a Yoruba from the western part of Nigeria. I currently live in Ghana, and I produce video, audio, and then I write.
Okay. Femi, I was speaking with you the other time, and I referred to you as Nigerian, and you weren't too pleased about that. Why is that?
Yeah, I have a problem with these colonial inventions we call countries in Africa. We have, culturally, there's nothing Nigeria. It's just a geographic expression. And I believe that, I have more in common with, I'm essentially Yoruba, an African. African is actually my first, because wherever I go, the first identity people see is my Africanness.
Yep.
Okay? So Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, whatever we call all these things, I have more in common with the Yoruba people of Benin and Togo. And now than I have with those so-called Nigerian settlements.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
So you obviously identify as Yoruba, but not Nigerian. However, I've also watched some of your media works where you refer to people as Ghanaian and stuff like that. What's the difference?
You have to when you're making a program, you have to tell people where people come from. I refer to it as a geographic expression. But when I meet people in Ghana, I ask where you come from. I'm Ewe, I'm Ga. And people seem not to realize that the people we call Ewe in Ghana, they are the closest people to the Yorubas on the continent of Africa.
Is that a fact?
That is it. You can check it up.
I thought that would be the Gans. The Gans actually...
No, actually the language is even closer. Cool. All those. I went to a village in Volta region. I thought I was dreaming. Honestly, yeah.
You could actually understand what they were saying.
Colonialism has tried to destroy it, and it is I think it's our mandate to try to revive those things. Because actually what colonialism tried to do was to break the kinship among us. Yeah. So we tried to identify with flags and all this paraphernalia of colonialism.
I see.
And that is exactly why I think we have all these problems in Africa. If people in Ghana, the so-called Ghanaians, or if the Ewe and the Yorubas know the historical affinity among them, what would be the cause of enmity, my brother?
Right, that's right.
Those are the duties of our academic and our intellectuals and our artisans and our musicians to bring these things up, to let our people know that there were one people.
I'd like to push you a bit on that, though.
There were wars. Go ahead, please.
There were wars among Africans before the colonial master came. We still had wars between tribes and clans and stuff like that.
I don't also like the idea of tribes and clans and things like that.
So what would you say? Okay.
Yoruba is a nation.
Okay.
When people come from, of course, every human settlement, every human society has tribes. But those were exacerbated by the colonialists and the slavers. Don't forget that we experienced a lot of upheavals in Mali before we scattered. And those were mighty empires, which, if they've been allowed to stay, would have ensured that we were never colonized because they were powerful enough to challenge the Europeans. So when these things were broken down, people scattered. The Europeans came and then, they thundered us at Berlin and I gave you flag and national anthem. Then we start to feel giddy. I'm a Ghanaian, I'm a Nigerian. This is nonsense.
I see. That is really deep. That is really deep, Femi. Let me go to Kojo now for
history. It's very important. We are the only people who don't teach us our history to our children.
That's true. Let me ask Kojo one or two questions and come back to you, Femi, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Kojo, tell us what was your first contact with music or the arts in general? How did you find that you had a knack for the artistic?
Well, naturally, I always gravitated towards music. My father bought me a small organ when I was 8 years old. I think that was for a birthday present or something like that. And I just started playing freehand without any tutorial. So that was my thing. I mean, in secondary school, we go and mess around with the piano. I was a member of the school choir. And then after secondary school, then I learned to play the guitar, which I learned to play by myself, without being taught. So that was how I got into music. And then a lot of people encouraged me that, hey, you're doing great, just keep it up. I also starred in a movie called Martin in 1993 with the lead character at the age of 13. So that, yes, that was a break for me as well in the arts.
Oh, wow. So now you have a band called Indigenous Groove?
Yes.
Tell us.
Indigenous Groove, I formed Indigenous Groove back in Ghana with some colleague music.
Hello? Hello, Kojo? We seem to have dropped Kojo. Let me come to you, Femi. You there, Femi?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So I'm trying to go on a short safari with you. I described you first as a writer, as a journalist, as an activist. Am I right?
I don't like the word journalist.
Wow.
I write, but I'm not a journalist.
Why is that?
I think the program has been so bastard that I don't want to be affiliated with it.
Interesting, Femi, but actually that leads me to where the question I was actually going to ask you. The media is referred to as a fourth estate, but we realize that in certain countries, I'm sure you would bear witness to this as you live in Ghana, some of the journalists, probably why you don't want to be called one, but some of them have actually become worse than the politicians. They've become the ones who foment trouble among politicians and among people, and they've actually taken sides with different sides of the political debate, the political parties and all of that. Do you think the media in Africa is living up to its billing?
Honestly, not. I think on my own views are that our intellectuals and our journalists are among our worst nightmares. Honestly, I live in Ghana, and there's a saying that who pays the pipe dictates the tune. The newspapers mostly are owned by politicians and people who are not interested in their society. My view is that those of us who call ourselves educated, we should stop betraying our societies. We should be conscious of how to move our society. That is the fundamental task bestowed on us. But when you have people who are, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're busy with judging things. There are so many things happening in the world, my brother. I get agitated because when I look, I travel to Europe frequently, and I've been to the United States. I see how far behind we are in Africa. And I come back to Ghana or to Africa, and I see what our journalists, our politicians are busy with. It makes me angry. Honestly. It's as if we don't even realize how far behind we are. And that is sad.
Wow.
Why should we be wasting time with all this nonsense politics? We spend 24 hours. We borrow ideas from people. Take this so-called democracy, for example.
Come on.
In Netherlands, few hours after election, people forget about politics. The country moves forward until the next election. But in Ghana, what do? It's 24 hours we use on preaching politics, talking politics, not development of politics, personality politics, insult and all this nonsense. Why are those things necessary?
Chairman. Hello?
Are you there? Hello, yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Jamal.
Femi?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, as a follow-up to that question, I was actually going to ask you, we cannot depend on the West for our news. You know, we still wait for CNN and all of these other outfits to tell us what's going on in Africa. How shameful
Why
is
should
that?
that be? Why should that be? The technologies are available now that we don't need to depend on anybody for disseminating, for gathering and disseminating news about ourselves. Why are we not doing it?
But I'm still more interested in why you don't want to call yourself a journalist. I mean, the fact that, for instance, if someone who is Yoruba does something that's not right, it doesn't make you not be Yoruba. Why do you want to separate yourself from...
I write, and I don't report.
You don't report, but I've seen your interviews.
No,
I've seen stuff that you do
I'm
that...
not interested in... honestly, I don't want to be... the word journalist has become so odious to me. Not only in Africa, but globally. I mean, I see what the CNN, the rubbish, the CNN and the Fox and the BBC, the mouthpiece of British imperialism.
All right, I'll accept that. Let me take you on a journey around Africa. Let's try and look at some of the things going on around Africa. But let's start with Nigeria as a geographical location, to borrow your expression. There seems to be tension between the Igbos or those in the south and those in the north or in the east or whatever. What's up with that?
What happened to what?
There seemed to be a bit of tension. I mean, we know about the Biafra situation and all of that. Just recently...
The Boko Haram?
No, not Boko Haram. I'll come to Boko Haram. I'm interested more in what's happening between the let's call it the Igbo nation and the the Yoruba nation. For instance, Femi Akomolafe just the other day wrote a blazing article which sent a lot of thoughts all over the place. What's your own attitude to that?
I think our elite, they play a con game on us. I don't mean only the political elite. I mean the spiritual. It's like the elite. They're playing a big game on the what has the average Igbo or the normal Yoruba? What have they got against Igbo or Hausa or whatever? I mean, I live in Ghana. I live in Kaswa. People exchange 5 different languages in their normal conversation. Those are the ordinary people. It is the politician and the religious leader who exacerbate tension. Because the average Nigerian or Ghanaian, so-called, they're not interested in enmity, honestly. When you go down to the grass level and talk to the people, you see how they share a sort of commonality. They have the same problem. They cannot feed their family. They are being given poor services. And then the elite riding in big cars. Then when election comes, they come and tell people, oh, this is not from a village. This one is not from a tribe, blah, blah, blah. When they are voting for themselves, when they are voting money at the National Assembly to loot the country, they don't remember where they come from. So why should we keep listening to them? It's a bloody waste of time. Sorry. And I believe it's the duty of the intellectuals and the journalists to stop bringing this nonsense, this tribalism and ethnicity. We have got developmental challenges in Africa. That should be our main focus. We should be articulating how can we improve, how can we begin to get good money for our resources, like Mugabe is trying to do in Zimbabwe. Those are the things we should be focusing on, not this petty politics or this religious things which seems to be preoccupying us.
Right. Some people have suggested that maybe splitting the country that is called Nigeria right now could be the answer. Like you said, Yoruba is a nation. Do you think Yoruba should exist as a nation different from the Igbo nation, different from the Hausa nation? Do you think that would...
That would be contrary to my Pan-Africanist view. I believe Africa should be one. Do they think that if the eastern part of Nigeria break up, will the Igbo be better off than they are in Nigeria? The question that you ask the Igbo or the Yoruba who are agitated for breakup, What are their government? Nigeria is a federation. The state governors go to the capital to collect money. Why are we not asking our governors what they're doing with our money? Why do they want to break the country? Every month they got money from the federal account. What are they spending it on? They're spending it on themselves. So what has that got to do with the breakup? If Nigeria should break up, would that solve the problem of corruption? I
doubt that. Anyhow.
So those are things we should be very careful about. Igbo break up, Nigeria break up, or whatever break up. Okay. A lot of them can stand on their own, but that will not solve their problem.
All right. I'm going to go for a short, very short musical interlude. Femi, please stay online. We'll be back in less than a minute. Thank you.
Yes, good.
Tell them not to joke. It's election time. Election time. Election time in the country. Tension is rising. Tension is rising just like a sports stadium. Brothers and sisters, go and cast your votes. After go and sleep somewhere. Brothers and sisters, go and choose the one that you want him. But remember, we get our kings and queens in Africa. Don't make no democracy make you crazy. Don't make no democracy make you fight your brother. Don't make no election make you fight your brother. We get our kings and queens. We get our kings and queens in Africa. It's election time, election time, election time in other countries. It's election time, election time, election time in the city. Tension is rising like a sports stadium. Brothers and sisters, go and choose your leader, go and choose your votes. My brothers and sisters, go and choose your leader, go and cast your votes. Don't fight your brother because of different party. Don't fight your sister because he belongs to the other party.
Sounds of Natty Joe Amanfo. Yes, we're here on www.saharatfmradio.com, live coming out to you from New York City. And we're spending FaceTime with the man Femi Akomolafe. All right, Femi, let me ask you this too. Like I said, we're going on a short safari around Africa. So let's go to South Africa. Some months ago, there was this situation where South African police tied a Mozambican national to the bumper of their car and dragged him till he died. There seems to be a certain, vibe in South Africa where it looks like they don't want other Africans in South Africa. And people keep saying that in the days of apartheid, the whole of Africa ganged up to fight the oppressor. But now we're getting paid in the wrong coin. What's your own assessment of that?
It is the charge that they will face on the continent that those that call themselves leaders, they just don't care about the people they're supposed to be ruling or to be leading. I wrote 3 days ago, I sent a note to the chairperson of the African Union. Can you imagine that 300 Africans died off the coast of Italy? There was no African government that issued a statement, expression of sorrow or solidarity. It is left for Europeans to be scrolling around trying to help our people. What type of leaders do we have in Africa, my brother? It makes me so sad and so angry. These are people who are escaping from whatever in their country. They perish. And no. Talking about South Africa, I find it, it's tragic. But if you understand the shenanigans that went into the post-apartheid so-called reconciliation, you will not be surprised that, things happen the way they did.
You call them shenanigans. What is your own thoughts of Nelson Mandela?
I think, yeah, we shouldn't talk ill of elderly person in Africa, but I think he betrayed the trust of the people.
Tell me about that. He's the hero of many a man and woman, especially in the West. Why do you think he betrayed the trust of his people?
We should be very careful when other people started choosing leaders for us. That why should they be more concerned about who lead us than ourselves? We don't get into leading, choosing people for them. We should choose people who are authentically our heroes. Why should a leader be interested in signing papers, granting political power, but maintaining the colonial structures? I mean, why are we interested in flags and appurtenances of offices when essentially nothing has changed?
Femi, some have said that he took it as a first step towards a greater level of independence or a greater level of freedom or whatever. You don't think?
I've read some of those arguments, but let's look back at history. When Nazism was destroying Europe, was defeated in Europe, what did the Europeans do? They want reparations. Everything that the Nazis stole for them, they want back. So why should we always be the one to be reconciled and then be happy that because people are smiling at us? It is time we stop this. I don't know. No, Mandela is not my hero, to be honest.
Very interesting thoughts. Very, very interesting thoughts. Let's move next door to Zimbabwe. You mentioned Mugabe a short while ago, and I have the feeling that you kind of hold him in high esteem. Do you support what's going on in Zimbabwe?
To be honest, he's the only African leader I respect. I don't know if you follow the indigenization policies they are trying to introduce in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
If you come as an investor, whatever you call yourself, to Zimbabwe, the government agree to partner with you, then you give 51% of, they take 51% as share in whatever business you're setting up. Because you are bringing your machinery and they have the resources. Yeah? Which is what we should be going for. Why should we have resources and people coming to tell us this is what we are going to pay for our resources? And they tell you that slavery is over.
Well, I've met Zimbabweans here in New York who would strangle Mugabe if they had a chance.
You have those everywhere. Zimbabwe friends who are also not in favor of his policies.
Yeah, I mean, basically normal. What they say is that who feels it knows it. They say, Mugabe is a hero of other Africans, not of Zimbabweans.
Yeah, they said the same thing of Nkrumah. But today Ghanaians are regretting what they lost.
Well, okay. Who would be a counterpart of or let me say a contemporary of Nkrumah in Nigeria? Would there be anyone like that?
Sadly, Nigeria has never produced a progressive leader apart from the short interregnum of Muntala, which is rather strange when you consider those who are young generals with very little education, but they were patriotic.
Who's that? Murtala Mohammed?
People don't realize the role Nigeria playing in the independence of Zimbabwe. And today you have a PhD holder as president of Nigeria who go to make stupid speeches at the United Nations when he could do a lot better for his own country. Who is more interested in getting plunders and applause from his masters in Washington?
Can you give us an example of the quote-unquote stupid decisions that Goodluck Jonathan made?
How do you stay in a country you have this maintenance of Boko Haram? You're calling the Israelis to come and be guarding your presidential palace. I mean, how stupid can you be? And honestly, I don't know what to even begin. How do you end up losing about, I don't know how many percentage of your oil wealth to oil, the bunkering, the people who are sabotaging your pipeline, you're losing a lot of money and you're clueless about what to do about it. How do you end up getting what's it called 9% for your oil revenue, and you are satisfied with that? You call yourself a leader. And
Okay.
no, it's honestly it's pathetic. It's the only word I can use about Jonathan. This is a tragic fellow.
A tragic fellow. Okay. In Malawi, the president, who's actually a woman, just the other day sold her presidential jet, which was actually purchased by her predecessor, to buy food for the poor.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I don't know if you go. I will send you the link to my blog. Maybe then you can see the type of things that are. Why? I find, and not only that our leaders. Yes, I don't want to be insulting people, but not only are they clueless, but they seem to be shameless as well. Why should the president of Nigeria, for Christ's sake, your country, it's in terrible shape, and you have 10 presidential jets. The national airline hasn't got a single jet. What type of leader are you? And the people, whom are our leaders trying to impress? You can't provide them water and electricity for your people in this age and time. And you are flying around in a presidential jet. Be serious.
Okay, so let's go to Malawi then. What do you think about the Joyce Banda's?
I applauded that when I read about it, because a poor country has no business giving president. I think that's another thing we should be focusing on in Africa. The pampering of our elite. Why should we be buying presidential jets for leaders when they cannot provide things for us? Yeah?
Yep.
As a leader, they should be more concerned about improving the conditions in their country than in the flamboyance of their offices. They set very low standard for their own people, but they want to operate at the stratosphere with the power elite of the world. Who takes us serious?
That is a very
When you go to
statement.
Washington or New York, you see the solid infrastructure a human being will be able to make. What is Jonathan coming here to talk that will make sense to Obama? Let's get serious.
Okay. You live in Ghana. A lot is going on in Ghana. There's a lot that we can talk about forever. But let me ask you this pertaining to Ghana. The parliamentarians, the only time they seem to agree on anything is when they want money together. And they cut up this huge, percentage of the national cake for themselves. What's your take on that?
Is that not what I've been trying to explain? So this type of entitlement. Why should it be business of Ghanaians to give car allowance to a member of parliament? A lot of them, almost all of them, have got cars, but they see their national treasury as war booty to be looted, and this is pathetic, honestly. I live in the Netherlands. A member of parliament who needs the car, that is his business or our business with a bank manager. But in Africa, we give our ministers free houses, free telephone, free. What do they do to deserve all those? Or what are they doing to deserve all those pampering?
Good question.
Yeah. If they provide services for, please, I will send you my blog. I live in Kaswa, which is in the central region of Ghana.
Can you share your blog can you share the link to your blog with our viewers? It's viewers as well because people are watching, and we'll put this on YouTube as well. So can you share it with us right now so that people can actually go there and follow up on the issues that you sharing with us?
www.
Yep.
.alaye, that's ALAYE.
Yep.
/category.
Yep.
Category. /blog.
Okay, so it's www.alaye. Alaye is ALAYE /category /blog.
Alaye.biz.
.biz, alaye.biz.
B-I-Z, yeah.
So it's www.alaye.biz.
Biz, B-I-Z.
B-I-Z, yes, slash category
Yeah.
slash blog.
That's correct.
Fantastic. What does alaye mean, though? I hear that a lot. Alaye Baba.
Alaye is a nickname for the owner of the world, the God, the Almighty.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. It's Yoruba?
It is Yoruba, yes.
Okay, great. All right. Let's go on.
So what I was saying is
yes, please finish.
Kasua, there's still a lot of shocking poverty. So the question is, why should the citizens of Kasua be given a car allowance or car loan to a member of parliament? They could use the money for development in the area. There are a lot of things crying for attention.
Some of these parliamentarians don't even go to their constituencies.
They don't. They come when they
live
have
in
elections
Accra.
to attend. But that's exactly which brings us back to the question of accountability and then the role of the so-called journalists. Oh, sorry, not so-called. The role of journalists. These are things that should be agitating us. These are things we should be focusing on. Why we give car loans to people? The only time we see them is during election times. Please, you go to my site, you see some very shocking pictures of Kasua.
Yep.
And now, this is the year 2013. Our people should not be living this type of greenly poverty. I mean, it's just with this type of resources.
Especially in times of an oil find.
That's what
Ghana has
from,
gold. Ghana is the second.
To the north of Ghana. There's gold all over the place.
Yeah.
So why are people living in this and our leaders feel so shameless that is it lack of ideas or lack of vision or lack of concern? I don't know what to blame it on.
What's your own assessment of the current government in Ghana?
I don't want to get into too much into Ghana, but I think they can do a lot better. And go to my blog, you see a lot of my writings there, and I try to draw their attention that we really can do a lot better. The last was the president going to United Nations to be making speeches. I mean, those are not necessary. The Chinese didn't go to make speeches at the United Nations. They stay in their country, build the economy. When they came out, people respect them. So why do we go and make big speeches, bombastic nonsenses at the General Assembly? Who take us serious, for Christ's sake? They only laugh at us.
Okay.
We don't need to go and make a stupid spectacle of ourselves there.
All right. Talking of the Chinese, they've been caught up in a situation where they were like doing illegal mining in Ghana, and it's not just the Chinese. There was also a program called something Gold, where we saw Americans, people from the U.S. actually going into Ghana and shamefully degrading the land and even attacking people whose land they were degrading.
A documentary of it.
Yeah.
They made a documentary of it.
You did?
Yeah, they made the documentary of it.
Oh, I mean, they did. Yes, they did actually for the program.
Yeah.
It's shameful to say the least, but let me hear what you have to say about that.
That is why patriotism comes in, my brother. The Chinese, there's a saying in Yoruba that there's a proverb that market you price goods the way they are displayed. If we have respect to ourselves, foreigners will not come and be messing us up. That is very essential. The way people see you, that's the way they treat you, the way you present yourself. If you have absolute no respect for yourself, so don't blame strangers when they come and mess your life up. But who are the people selling the lands to the Chinese or the Americans? It is not our chiefs.
It is, but if you follow the story closely, you realize that when they got into that village, one particular village, the chief and the youth of the town rose against them, and then they started shooting at them. Again, if you watch that documentary they made for the Jungle Gold program, you realize that the guy who got attacked on his farm, he came out boldly to challenge them. So I don't know if we can pin the blame so much on the...
How did the American or the Chinese discover the place, please? Is it not part of our... please, some of these things we have to blame ourselves. Who went to the Chinese, bring your money, I've got connection. The Chinese sitting down in this field doesn't know anything about Ghana. We go, some of us go there, we call ourselves business people, and then we come and mess up our own people for pittance. I've seen chiefs there who sell fast tracks or land for just a few tokens. They give them a jeep or whatever, and then they just honestly.
Just like in the days of slavery, where they used to.
We learn absolutely nothing from those times.
It appears like that. It appears like. Let me pick your thoughts on GMOs, genetically modified foods, which is kind of being forced on Africans. Our farmers have had the technology to feed ourselves forever, and then to keep the land, replenished so that we keep producing and reproducing. Now, GMOs, which had not even been, tested, are being forced down on us. Say something about this.
Actually, on Saturday, the 12th of this month, that's in 3 days' time, they were going to make a protest about the GMO in Ghana. I don't know what exactly is wrong with us.
Who is we? Who is we?
The movement led by the Rastafarian Council in Ghana. They're going to march in Accra at the Nkrumah Circle, which is starting at 8:30. So that's one of the activities lined up to challenge this. But then it comes to the question of who, in his right mind, decided that Ghana needs GMO? Which official decided that this is brilliant for Ghana? You buy it, I don't know. A lot of the advanced countries, Germany, Russia, they don't allow it in their country. They've got the technology and they got the know-how to know what's going on. And I don't know how many pieces of silver somebody collected somewhere and accepted that GMO should be introduced to Ghana. We have fast land. We have a lot of unemployed people. So why are we going for this GMO nonsense?
We
have officials who are paid from the kitty, national kitty. They got allowance, they got salary allowances and free, but they're still messing us up.
Okay.
They're colluding with, I don't know, for whatever reasons, to impose all this nonsense on us. We don't need it.
All right. Religion also seems to be a major canker right now, a major menace in Africa. We have, private jet owning pastors and whip over my head imams, playing football with the people of Africa right now. Why are we so enthralled about religion? Don't we have our own religion?
I'm glad you mentioned it because this is one of the things I write about regularly now. When you get to the blog, you will see it. I mentioned that our elite, I said the political and the spiritual, they playing a con game on us. Because we were among the most spiritual people on it, Africans. So what do we need? Imported religions, making noise and all this. I've lived in Europe, for example. The people who brought Christianity to Africa, they practice their religion only on Sunday, and they take about 2 hours in their churches. But what do we have in Africa? Now the Christian practices 24 hours a day. You have from Monday to Monday, people are sitting down in churches waiting for miracle. I tell people, no, miracles happen in laboratories, in scientific laboratories, not in churches. It is time we stop all these delusions that God is coming down to. So God has never solved a problem for anybody. You use your own. He has given you the wherewithal to solve your problems. But with our spiritual leaders, in collusion with our political leaders, keep on playing con game on us. That every little thing that only God can solve the problem. Why should God solve problems for people? God.
Femi, are you saying there is no God?
My honest, I don't know if there's a God or there's no God, but it shouldn't be consuming our time.
Okay. So, but Africans had our own way of, reaching
That's
God.
That's why I mentioned spirituality. I mentioned spirituality, which is essentially, there are a lot of things we don't understand. That is correct. There are a lot of things which are inexplicable to us. But spirituality means, my understanding of spirituality is probably the African spirituality, Yoruba spirituality. If there's a God, it's imamament. It's everywhere. He knows your innermost, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need for you to worry about beating drums, disturbing your neighbors, or donating money to bishop or whatever. Do you know that in Yoruba, they never build the Yoruba religion. There's no shrine built to the creator.
Really?
Because the belief is above everything.
Yep. So there are no shrines to Shango and...
To Olodumare, no. There are shrines to what the Yorubas call the Orishas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the creator, the Olodumare himself, the Yoruba never built shrines for him.
All right.
Yeah?
Okay.
Those are the type of spirits that can relate to not this time-wasting, miracle performing nonsense charlatans who call themselves men of God. We're all children of God, if there's one.
Okay. Now let's come to Boko Haram. A thriving menace in Nigeria right now. What is up with Boko Haram?
What is what?
What's up with Boko Haram? What is going on?
If I know what is going on, I will get the Nobel Prize for this. I will get the Nobel Prize. But the only thing I can say is I find it tragic, honestly, because when I was in Nigeria in the 80s, the northern part of Nigeria was the most beautiful and the most peaceful part of the country. I used to travel a lot then, and there's no place I feel safer than in the northern states. Unfortunately, what happened is, when you have, as I mentioned earlier, you have governors of states who did not give a damn about their own people, who only interested in, spending money, lavishing the little resources on themselves and their family. You create the dynamics for the functional state, which is exactly what I believe happened in Boko Haram. When you have a vast elite of people, especially the boys, who spent hours under under a tree, learning only how to memorize the Quran. There's hardly a factory. There's hardly an avenue for them to express themselves. Are we not asking for trouble? Then the question I have to ask is, how do these elite people, how do they get the knowledge to start building bombs? How do they get the knowledge to start handling sophisticated weapons? How do they get the knowledge to start gathering intelligence to know where to go and how to evade? So those are difficult questions to answer. Who are the mastermind behind? There are a lot of theories. I don't want to get into conspiracy theory, but there are a lot of things we don't understand. They didn't spring from nowhere. They need an organization. They need a mastermind. But they come stupidly to what we call the actions of the Nigerian government. Remember 2011, Nigeria and South Africa voted to the United Nations decision to go and bomb Libya. Strategically, our leaders are so short-sighted that they don't look at the repercussions of the action. Today, the weapons, I was listening to BBC this afternoon that Libya has become a failed state. It has got the biggest coordinated weapons in the world. Against whom are those weapons going to be used? Against us in Africa. So why should we support the bombing of course, Gaddafi has his own problem, was blah, blah, blah. But we should be thinking strategically, what are the implications of having a dysfunctional state in Libya?
Yep. Good question.
Don't we have people who are advising our leaders? Don't go to the NATO people. They know what they want in Libya. They want to destroy. They want oil contracts. They want to send their arms. But what is in our interest?
Let me ask you a follow-up to that, because what you just said drew my attention to that. President Mahama said in New York a short while ago that the terrorists are looking for softer targets because the West is closing, like tightening their borders and stuff like that. This was as a reaction to some terrorists, some faceless terrorists, threatening to attack Ghana And that their reason for doing that is that Ghana contributed to pushing the terrorists out of Mali. You think this is it, or don't you think that African nations owe it to each other, under the banner of the AU and the ECOWAS and stuff like that, to support fellow governments who are threatened by terrorists?
Isn't that's what I refer to as the short-sightedness of our leaders? 60-something years ago, Nkrumah advocated the setting up of an African High Command, to coordinate the security of Africa. We don't take our security serious in Africa. You know how easy it is to pass through, especially with, if you are a foreign skin person, Arab or European. You see how easy it is to pass through our borders. We don't take our security serious. So if we have listened to Nkrumah that our security is interlinked, we wouldn't have all this upheavals, all this civil war, this proxy war. But we also should be very careful about those who call our friends. Suddenly now we saw France and American forces in northern part of Africa.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a saying that nothing in politics happens by chance. How did they coordinate? How did they suddenly become our friends and then they're fighting our war in Mali?
Trying to introduce drones into Africa and all of that.
Now the drones they're already in Niger. I think they even over to Nigeria now. So we should ask ourselves what is going on. We seem to be bereft of. The one thing, honestly, I blame the Europeans for something, but then you have to admire their tenacity. You have to admire their strategic planning. They know what they want. They go for it.
Okay.
We don't know what we want in Africa. We don't go for it. There are no strategic. There's one strategic institute in Nigeria. I don't think there's one in Ghana. So these are the people who should be advising our leaders, thinking far ahead, looking at strategies, alternatives, tactics, and all those things. But we seem to be making decisions as we go along. That is not the way to run a country.
Knee-jerk reaction. Okay, Femi, finally, gay rights in Africa. Let me pick your thoughts.
About gay rights in Africa?
Yep.
I don't believe in the policy of sexual attitude or sexual opinion of people. I'm not interested in anybody. But I don't want people to come to preach to me about homosexual or lesbian or whatever. Whoever you sleep is your business, but don't make a politics of it.
Well said.
I'm not interested.
Well stated.
I'm not interested in your sexual orientation, but please don't come and disturb me. But you want to. What you do in your bedroom is your business.
It's your own business, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Femi, if you had a chance to have all the African leaders under one roof and you had the opportunity to say something to them in 1 minute, what would you say to them?
Care for your people.
That's it?
Yeah.
As always.
If they think about their own people, if they think about the welfare of the people, they won't be selling the resources of the people for pittance. They won't be giving themselves fancy cars. And I look at the type of limousines our president are using. We don't even manufacture bicycle sports, for Christ's sake.
Femi Akomolafe of Alaye Media. Can I say that? Can I call your outfit Alaye Media?
Yeah, it's Alaye.biz.
Alaye.biz.
Yeah. .biz.
Yep. Thank you so much, Femi. You have shared so much wisdom with us today to last many, many, many years. Oh. And I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for not just coming, but making it fabulous, sharing your views with us on all different manner of subjects. And thank you for accepting to come on at such short notice too.
Okay. I also thank you, and I appreciate what you guys are trying to do. We need all the education we can get.
We do too. So, listeners, this has been Femi Akomolafe a Yoruba, a proud Yoruba from the Yoruba nation, obviously, doesn't want
Proud African, not a proud African.
Well, proud African. Well, I was building up to that. I was actually building up to that. But yes, a proud African that I would love to call a mentor as well. Thank you very much, Femi, and I know that definitely one of these days we'll have you back on the program to share more wisdom with us.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and may the ancestors keep on guiding you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Listeners, viewers, this is it for this edition of Conscious Vibes. As it is, we are introducing different segments or different segments which can, alternate. This is called the FaceTime, and today it was with Femi Akomolafe. Other times we have People's Parliament, and other times we have Artist Profiles. Until next week, when we come your way again with another blazing edition of Conscious Vibes. This is yours truly, Ja Beloved, signing off straight from New York City. Enjoy the music of Clement Ire. It has gone up as we take a bow. One love every time.
Light gone up, water rate gone up, insurance gone up, food gone up, clothes gone up, every basic necessity, things missing up, rent gone up, school fees